You wanna hear the most satisfying noise in the world? Ready for this? Did you catch it? Oh. One more time for the people in the back. I'll get closer. Right. Let's get back to work. Hello YouTube, today we are going to help you decide on questionable comments that you can leave in the discussion below, because today we're going to talk to you about 5 things that you probably didn't know about your favorite / probably most hated / maybe even reluctantly like XXR Wheels. So before we get started, don't forget to subscribe and let's jump right into it and try to stay till the end of the video, because some of the angry remarks or questionable comments that you leave in the discussion below may already be answered by the time we get to the end of the video. Founded back in 1976, XXR Wheels or Primax Wheels or XXR without the wheel part was actually founded a long time ago. It wasn't founded a couple years ago or 10 years ago, anything like that. And Primax XXR Wheels, founded back in 1976, had their own wheel factory established like 3 short years later. And they were involved in everything from motorcycle wheels to car wheels. In fact, mostly and predominantly, XXR focused on a lot of motorcycle wheels before they really got involved in a lot of aftermarket car wheels. The second thing that you didn't know about XXR probably is the fact that they actually make fully forged wheels. Now, the XXR 527F is probably one of the cheapest fully forged wheels you can possibly buy. $1,600 for a set of 4 will knock you an 18x9 fully forged wheel. Now, to put that in retrospect, there are other forged wheels out there at a similar price or similar size will probably net you around $3,200 to $3,600. There's a couple wheel companies coming out like RSR in the 901 to 903 series that are coming out with fully forged wheels for around $2,800. But in terms of comparing it to XXR 527 forged, that is still, they got a long way to go. Now, how XXR has fully forged wheels for $1,600 is completely beyond me, because in terms of having to produce a fully forged wheel requires a very tight connection to a lot of wheel manufacturing plants, and it takes some pretty fancy skills to get there. Now, the 527F is not rotary forged, not flow forged, it's not spun forged, not any of those fancy forged terms. It is actually fully 100% forged. So both the face and the barrel are both forged, which is pretty neat when you think about it. Probably something that you did know, but we're gonna bring up anyway, is XXR has a few different designs. In fact, they have a copious amount of different designs in terms of wheels, widths, offsets, and sizes. It has a lot to do with the fact that XXR does have designs that look practically identical to other people's wheels, but you know, then we're gonna stray away from that. But what you do need to know is because XXR has so many different wheels and so many different designs, XXR is probably one of the few brands that offer that amount of different wheels compared to any other distributor out there. XXR pretty much rivals companies like AG and TSW when it comes to different wheel models. Now, we're not trying to say that they're comparable in design or style or quality, rigidity testing, FIA, JWL, all of that stuff, but we are saying that XXR makes a hell of a lot of wheels, and they really don't have any plans of stopping soon. Every single year they tend to release around 6 new designs, and last year they released a lot of deep lift single drilled wheels, which makes us to believe that XXR may eventually start going towards wheels of an original design. Last year we reviewed the 530D and other different wheels at SEMA 2017, which you can check out like up there, and for the most part they seem to be pretty excited to get into fully forged wheels, so we'll be excited to see what they come up with in the next 45 days when we actually make it out to SEMA. The fourth thing that you probably didn't know about XXR is they are a lot more light. I don't even know if that's a word. They are a lot more accepted. Is that the word? They are a lot more accepted. That is not a coherent sentence. XXR is a brand that is accepted by most as a positive thing rather than a negative thing. Now, I know that sounds really weird because anytime XXR is brought up, we talked about it in our first wheel history we ever did on XXR. People were all sorts of upset up and down, left and right. For the most part, there are a lot of people that run XXR. Now, if it's your first set of wheels or it's your 10th set of wheels, XXR does have its own little place in the wheel community, it seems like. Whether that you're just a noob and you want something that looks good for a fraction of the cost of, well, the original designed wheel that you could get for probably, you know, 4 times the cost, or you're a drifter and you don't mind breaking your wheels every once in a while, and the fact that you run into walls makes you not want to spend a lot of money on wheels. Either way, XXR is a brand that we've seen everywhere. We've seen it at autocross, we've seen it at drag days, we've seen it as your first set of wheels, and it's something that I don't think is going to go away anytime soon. And the fifth thing that you may not know about XXR wheels is that they're actually squeeze casted, they're not gravity cast. So in the world of wheels, there's multiple different ways that you can make wheels. You can sand cast wheels, you can gravity cast wheels, you can low pressure cast wheels, you can high pressure cast wheels, you can spin forged wheels, you can rotary forged wheels, you can cold forged wheels, you can do fully forged wheels. I'm running out of breath. And you also have what we just talked about, which is essentially just squeeze casting. Now, if you didn't know what squeeze casting is, it's a very similar property style to how you would forge a wheel. Now, forging a wheel has a whole different level in terms of structural integrity, and that's not what we're trying to say. But essentially when an XXR wheel is made, it is actually injected into a mold versus just poured in like a lot of other entry-level wheels that are extremely heavy, that are are around $500–600 if you've ever noticed, that weigh around 32 pounds. It's absolutely terrible. But XXR will squeeze cast them, and what that allows them to do is when the mold is cooling, the way that it's squeezed essentially eliminates a lot of the pores and helps align grain structure in terms of structural integrity in the long run, and it'll cool it down much faster. It allows them to produce more wheels versus just your standard gravity cast and then cool casting them after the fact. And does any of that matter? I don't know, maybe if you wanted to win Jeopardy, 6 years from now, you're on the TV show host, you can actually thank me. You can be like, send me a couple bills for helping you out on that question. And sand casting has a bunch of other different properties and things like that. It's not sand casting. Squeeze casting has a whole bunch of different properties. If you'd like to learn more, let us know and we'll talk about it. So that is 5 things you probably didn't know about XXR. If you think you know something about XXR that's actually found by fact and not a Facebook thread you saw 6 years ago, drop a comment below and we'll see if we agree, disagree, or if it's true or false. Don't forget to subscribe, and if you're interested in XXR Wheels, check out fitmentindustries.com/XXR and you can check out all the brands. We're not paid to promote anybody. Just getting that out of the way, because everybody in the comments section sometimes gets like that. I'm just here. We're just trying to fund the E30, man. We just want to get parts. Doesn't have any suspension, no wheels. We don't even know what we're doing because Corey's over here walking around with a fidget spinner around his neck and not building the car that we planned on filming. So that's what I'm dealing with. So I'm Alex from Fitment Industries, and we will see you later. Peace.